So much for being part of the show. I appreciate everyone who's here today. So, welcome to Precious AU TV. And today we want to talk about what has been trending on social media, especially as the country is going through a lot of things. But our First Lady of Nigeria, in her very magnanimous attitude and in her kind nature, just decides that, wait, how do I help Nigerians now to make sure that they live good life? What can I do to bring about the unity of Nigeria? And one thing our First Lady was able to think of is to say, hey, I get it now. We have to change the national anthem. No, I say national anthem. We have to get national ashwebi for Nigerians. This is the conversation that we're having. As the First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, launches national ashwebi, aka national fabrics for the country. Hey! Okay, in the history of things that I've seen happening in Nigeria, this has to be one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever seen happen in this country. Because how can, at a time that Nigerians are going through a lot of things, how can, at a time that hunger is thrive, how can, at a time that insecurity is at its increase, did you know that about 5 people were killed in Plateau State, in Boko's community in Plateau State, just over the weekend, on Sunday, by, of course, unknown gunmen, bandits? 5 people were killed, and this is not the only killing. Killings happen day after day in Nigeria. In all of this issue, what our First Lady could say is, what she can do to urge or encourage her husband to better the plight of Nigerians is to say, let's launch National Ashwebi, as the National Ashwebi is the key to our unity in this country. Isn't it amazing? Well, let me even read the message to you. After reading the message, and I'm going to also read messages where the First Lady of Nigeria has very well united this country. You remember that statement that went viral in 2022 that she said in 2022, Abi? That video of what she said something about chasing Igbo people out of Lagos and taking over their properties and all that. That a lot of people said, no, it's a lie. She did not say it. Okay, I'll remind you of that. But before then, let's go straight to what our First Lady said. So she posted today on Twitter. Let me check if I can get the exact time she posted it to. I think that post was made earlier today, around, I think sometime around this evening. Around 5 p.m. this evening, it was when she made the post. And guess what she said? She says that she posted on her official Twitter handle that today, as we unveil the hashtag One Nigeria Unity fabric, my heart is full of joy. She's elated. She's happy for Nigeria, for launching the One Nigeria Unity fabric. By the way, the reason I raise this conversation is so that you can have your say. I had this conversation on radio. It paid me, say I not talk my mind, because laws that guide broadcasting would not let me have an opinion as a presenter. But the good thing we say, I get the right to get an opinion for this conversation right here. Okay, so let me read further what's the, and then you can also have your say. I will not tell you honorable off the mic here, okay? So, and then she says, this fabric represents our nation's unity. That is cloth, material, represents our nation's unity, and was inspired by my visit to Zimbabwe in 2023. Where we saw similar initiative, or where I saw similar initiative. I introduced the idea to the Renewed Hope Initiative, aka my husband's initiative, aka my Uncle Me initiative, and then it has become a reality through the creativity of young Nigerians. She now says, Ms. Bamidele, forgive me not to call the other name, embodies her design embodies a diverse culture and will be proudly worn on Independence Day and other national celebrations. The project will support local textile industries, create jobs, and celebrate Nigeria's strength and unity. I want to understand something, please. And maybe I did not go to school well. How will a fabric, a cloth, an attire foster national unity? And if an attire can foster national unity, how is it that it is the office of the First Lady of Nigeria that is not constitutional that will be the office that will foster the national unity? Remember in 2014, 2015, when, during the election period for President Muhammadu Buhari, that he had said by himself that the office of the First Lady is not constitutional, he will scrap it. But then Aisha Buhari came and became powerful. You see how talk can be cheap? But when it is now time to do the talk, it becomes a problem to really, really do the talk. Do you understand? So sometimes I wonder where this administration is taking us to, and how creative and the manner of people that they have amongst them in this country, because it's really very disheartening and frustrating to know. Now, if the First Lady wanted to foster national unity, a lot of people would have thought that that statement that they said that was credited to her, that she actually made in 2019, where she was seen in a video on the roadside saying in Yoruba language that they will chase away, they will start their property. That statement is a visionary statement that anybody can make. It's very divisionary. It causes a lot of division. But in the midst of this fostering national unity, why did the First Lady not remember that? Let me start by apologizing for that statement, or perhaps not apologizing but saying, let me start by enlightening Nigerians or making Nigerians understand that I did not mean what they thought I meant in that statement. At least that could create a bit of calm and succor to the people that felt insulted by that statement that she made way back in 2019, that Igbos will be stylishly thrown away from Lagos State and their properties taken over. And immediately her husband came into office, of course, the Lagos State government, through trying to get things right, demolished a lot of properties that Igbos claim that are majority Igbos properties in Lagos State. You know of all the demolitions that have been happening since last year and this year in Lagos State, and how Igbos lay claim to ownership of most of these properties. And the Lagos State government had insisted that these properties are blocking waterways, obstructing waterways, and that's the reason why these properties had to be removed. But if they had to be removed, and if this particular kind of unity she wants to foster is anything to go by, why not start by apologizing or probably explaining better what the statement meant? Bayo Onanuga, for instance, had made a lot of divisionary statements, and when he made them, he even beat his chest to say he doesn't owe anybody an apology for his ethnic baiting. Say he no sent una, he no sent anybody anything for any ethnic baiting when you do. So if Bayo Onanuga can say things, and then he is very close to our madam, and perhaps close to the people who our Madam First Lady shared this renewed hope initiative of national fabric, aka National Ashibito. So how come she did not also start by asking someone like Bayo Onanuga, please help me apologize for some of the statements that Nigerians may have thought that causes division that you have made? Because obviously some ethnicities or ethnic groups may be angry over this your statement. If those kind of apologies or amendments are made, then we may really begin to have peace that we seek for. Because in a country where people feel cheated, where people feel slighted, where people feel constantly and consistently marginalized and maligned, there cannot be true peace or true unity. You don't force unity. You don't force peace. You don't force oneness. It is something that happens naturally. So how has the First Lady of Nigeria tried on her part as the mother of the nation to foster unity, even if it means by taking back any divisionary statement she had made in the past, to say that, oh, this particular one, I said it in error, or I was misconstrued, or people just perhaps misunderstood my statement? Shouldn't she have started by going back to that statement made in 2019 that Igbos will be chased out of Lagos and their properties taken over? Shouldn't she have started by at least explaining that statement? It would be a good way to create succor for a lot of Nigerians. So I've not called my phone lines already, but I see that my phone lines are ringing. So yes, you can join the conversation if you want to be part of the conversation. I would have to call the phone numbers to those who who may want to join the conversation very quickly. So if you want to join this conversation and you'd like to air your thoughts and reactions about this, you can kindly call us right away on 0817 029 4077 on WhatsApp only. 0817 029 4077 on WhatsApp only. Hello, good evening and welcome.
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So I guess you did not have to wait for me to mention phone lines before you jumped in. So I thought to have this conversation for Nigerians to really air their mind on what they think. And I have lots of messages to read from Nigerians too, because Nigerians responded to the First Lady a lot, even on her Twitter handle about this. Go ahead. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Honestly speaking, I don't want to talk about that idiot.
Ew.
That woman is useless.
That is the first lady of Nigeria.
Nigeria have no first lady. Nigeria have no even first man. All these things, first lady, those are nonsense people talk about those people. And for me today, honestly speaking, if Nigeria have a president, I don't know. And we don't have. What you have there is the money that is there. I pity for those who are supporting those idiots. Understand? And it is, you see, what I don't know how to contact you yesterday until I get your phone number about the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, okay? You guys were discussing yesterday, okay?
Yes, sir.
It's unfortunate, honestly speaking. You see, I'm ardent lover of your program. I listen to program sometimes, okay, when I have time. But this issue of Igbos, you come together and go and see under the Kanu release. Yoruba did not go. All the Obas and all the chiefs did not go and talk to Buhari or talk to Soro.
A lot of them did. Professors in Yoruba land. Let me explain to you. Professors in Yoruba land, Yoruba elders, chiefs and kings went and they all joined forces to ask Buhari to release Igboho. There are evidences to that. Yes,
but
they did.
Igbos have done. Igbos did. Even the former man that died, the other elder that died, all of them, they went 2 times. They went to Buhari to release, but they don't want to release him. The thing is that, you see, the history will judge everybody in that country. Understand? The Yoruba elders now, who are benefiting this nonsense more they're getting from Tinubu government, they forget to know that they're supposed to be talking about the future of their children, the future of the Yoruba people, the future of the Nigerians. How can they be collecting this nonsense from Tinubu? Is it that Yorubas are not strong to make business or what? Or to get money? Yorubas are a good tribe, but these days, what they're doing is laughable. Understand?
What is your point exactly? What is your point exactly?
My point is this, that Igbos, for me, Igbos are not supposed to go to that people again so that Nnamdi Kanu can be released. If they want to release him, let him. If they don't want to release him, and we have heard many things that don't want to release Nnamdi Kanu, but let them continue keeping him there. One day, what you want will happen, and that man will be free. They believe that they can kill that man. I don't think that man will die there. I don't believe so they will die there. But what I'm saying in effect is this: what they are doing to the Igbos have not done anything there in Nigeria that will warrant all this nonsense they're doing to the Igbos. Be marginalized. Okay, look at this government now. For me, I don't love APC. APC is an evil people. Anybody in APC is an evil human being.
Calm down.
There was a time I
know you're entitled to your opinion, but please take it easy.
Yeah, I'm entitled to my opinion because you see, let me tell you, all this suffering Nigerians are suffering, we are crying here. Honestly speaking, we are crying here. Because not that we are sending money home to support our people, but the kind of, I've never seen a country like the way that Nigeria is being run now. Even the time of Abacha, Nigeria was not run like that. Even the time of the military regimes, Nigeria was not run like that. Now, I wonder if we have elders in Nigeria. I wonder if we have people who, at that time of
did you hear that Obasanjo over the weekend met with IBB and Gusau, and people have been calling on IBB, Obasanjo and Gusau to help deliver Nigeria from intensive care units, ICU?
You see, let me tell you the truth. You see, those people you are calling are those that destroyed Nigeria. And this issue of Nigeria, for me, I don't believe that Nigeria can work. Let me tell you, we are now 60 years or more than 100 years if we forget about the independence time. But until now, nothing works in Nigeria. Go to other countries, things are working. Instead of us working, we are going back. How can a country run like that? And the worst is that the people of Nigeria, whether the election was rigged, we know the election was rigged. But even at that, how can Nigeria keep quiet and somebody like Tinubu enters there as a president?
Well, thank you. I appreciate you entitled to your opinion. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. So going back to the conversation that we're having, yeah, I did tell you what the first lady posted about the national fabric and the reaction that trailed it. So after her post, or in reaction to her post, a lot of Nigerians started tweeting and started saying things. And let me read a few responses and reactions of Nigerians under the first lady's post. Somebody reacted and said, "Niger the hungry, mommy alagbo, they call Ashwebi, they sell Ashwebi, we don't enter one chance for this country." It's how is the mind that Nigerians have to even respond to their first lady. And somebody responded under it and said, pressure Tiwa. That is pressure day, where. And you must not say na one chance. You say you just know say na one chance. My brother, let's buckle up. It's a long journey. So Nigerians are making all these reactions under the first lady. In fact, the first lady started trending because of this conversation. Because a lot of people are wondering, excuse me, how come at a time when Nigeria is facing its worst economic crisis, that families can no longer feed? Now, people are actually doing just 010. People are not able to eat up to 2 meals a day anymore because of how difficult and how hard things are. And then the first lady is making a statement like this at a time like this, at a time when we know that insecurity is on the increase, there is no affordability of food. People cannot afford meals, food to eat. There is no potable water. Peter Obi was busy building potable water borehole for some local governments and some communities in the north, and they were yabbing him, abusing him. But those people don't have water. Have you seen the colorful water some people use in some parts of the country? The water they color brown, not be seen a joke. And that is why cholera was a thing. When cholera won't catch us, it come well because truly water na problem. Possible water issue, electricity itself now wahala wey be say we get. Even the electricity we even manage get, wey some people manage get, the tariff is off the roof. Most families cannot afford electricity. Someone called me the other day on my radio show and said that these days, that even if you're going through their street or passing through their streets, you will not be able to tell when there is light or not. You know why? There may actually be light, but a lot of people cannot afford to load their meters. So there is darkness, as if there is no light. People don't have money. Some people use 20,000 naira in less than 2 weeks. It finishes. Okay, an average family manages to use 20,000 naira every month. How can they even afford it every month? For people whose salary is just 70,000 naira. You can make an analysis right now of the cost of living in Nigeria. If you're running a family in this country, I'm not even sure 400,000 naira will be enough for you to run a family. Because if you put into consideration the cost of food, the cost of electricity, the cost of transportation, oh, more or less this fear. Do you people even know that this Awilo that Dangote and the NNPC is dancing up and down with fuel price would, of course, ultimately increase the price of life or the cost of livelihood in the country? Because at the end of the day, by the time they now settle for any price, it's going to affect the cost of livelihood. Let's put it into perspective. You were buying fuel for 580 something naira per liter, or 585 naira per liter. Some people were selling for 605 naira, 615 naira per liter. And at that time, a bag of rice was about 90,000, 95,000, 85,000 naira. Initially buying price 1,000 something in some parts of the country as released by NNPC. About 900 naira in some parts of the country as released by NNPC. 800 and almost 900 in some parts of the country as released by NNPC. Do you know the ripple effects of goods and services? Because almost every food that you eat, most goods that you use are transported in Nigeria. And that is why anything that affects the pricing and availability of fuel in Nigeria ultimately affects almost every part of the economy. And that is true. So that is to say that our suffer never starts. Our looter is about to continue because our looter will wear gyms ready to continue. Now, the first lady refused or perhaps neglected addressing these issues. The fact that as a mother, people are dying of hunger. Children are falling sick. Do you know that Kwashoko has come back to Nigeria? Kwashoko is now a thing. People are malnourished because there is no food to eat. In the midst of this malnourishment and all of that, what our first lady can think to bring us together is fabrics. She be a person when chop food, now they wear clothes. Who no chop food, how it go take wear clothes cover in body? These are questions where a lot of people supposed to ask our first lady. Affordable food is zero. People cannot afford food. People cannot afford security. I just told you that just today it was in the news that about 5 people died in Plateau State. The same Plateau State that had the Christmas Eve attack. where almost 300 people lost their lives. The same Plateau State was attacked by bandits, and we cannot name them, we cannot catch them, we cannot hold them responsible. And we have state apparatus, we have government. The First Lady is not addressing that issue or talking to her husband, our dear president, to address the issue. Good road is zero. Have you tried to travel by Lagos road? Nigerian roads? Most Nigerian road is zero, like a death trap to travel. And then we're not even accessing things like that, because once you have good access roads, it makes ease of movement. It makes for ease of movement. We've not addressed electricity, affordable fuel, and good governance. People just protested in the month of August for bad governance. People protested in the month of August for bad governance. And our First Lady is launching Asoebi for us to wear on Independence Day as the DJ of National Orientation Agency, aka First Lady, that we have. So I don't know why it looks like there is a lot of misplaced priority by the government of the day. And it's really very, I don't want to say just annoying, but it's disheartening, because it looks like the government is far away, far detached from the realities of the average Nigerian. If you're not in Nigeria, just come down and ask somebody in Nigeria how they are coping. People are suffering. It's not a joke. People are suffering. People can't eat food, like ordinary food. People are just praying to be able to feed themselves. Just to feed, just to eat is a problem. God forbid you now fall sick to afford medication. The cost of buying malaria medication now, the amount you can treat malaria with now, you get started at least 5,000 naira to treat malaria. And guess what? That has brought about the insult of a lot of fake drugs. Fake drugs everywhere. So we've not even attacked that. The First Lady has not addressed that situation, because that's what she would have done in her motherly role as the mother of the nation, as the First Lady of the nation. But what do we have? A national Asoebi in the Owambe fashion that we have, as the Owambe organizers that we are in Nigeria. It is so embarrassing. But let's take a few more responses from her. Someone on her Twitter page says, how much did you charge us for decoration of this event venue? Because we wonder, because the place where they do this announcement, you don't charge us plenty money for decoration. You will do us a lot of favor by just sitting and watching. So you would have done us a lot of favor by just sitting and watching TV on Aso Rock, instead of you to give us Asoebi to wear. All these events do not benefit Nigerians. You're just using them to steal public funds. Remember recently where plenty of money, about 250 million, went down or something. Remember, that's also in the news. And then somebody else says, when are you going to chase the Igbos out of Lagos and take over their properties, like you said? That statement that was made then. Somebody reminded her of it. And then someone else says, Mommy, please, we want rice pattern for the next one. The Etiaje can have corn. That is the next pattern of fabric. She'll have rice pattern. Did I tell you that the Nigerian government gave 1,200 bags of rice to each minister to give to their states? If you have like 2 ministers per state, so that will be 2,400 bags, and perhaps it's 25 kg bag of rice, right? So please tell me, how many poor people do you have in the streets? How many poor people do you have in a location? And how many people would need that bag of rice? Or will you share one cup to the people of your community? I don't want to say we're a joke here in this country. And then someone says, someone in his right sense will ask, is Nigeria divided before now? That's a question. APC is a curse to this nation. That's what some people say. So I just thought to bring this conversation to the fore, yeah? And of course, there's been a bit of jittery as President Olusegun Obasanjo has had a meeting with IBB, the former head of state IBB, and Gusau, and people are beginning to say, okay, so what is this with this meeting? But OBJ has said something very, very, essential and critical, that African countries must ensure that they handle their economy first of all. So what are we even doing? Are we trying to improve our economy, to the level where it will give us a competitive advantage in Africa? In this Nigeria, before now, Nigeria was the first topmost economy in Africa. We went from top to second. Now we're fourth economy in Africa. Even South Africa, that did not reach us before, now has overtaken us in economy in Africa. These are genuine things we should be worried about. Oh, by the way, the CBN, Yemi Kadeso group of companies, came out today to tell us that even though we have removed subsidy, and it was an agitation that we had, Even though we are happy that imports have reduced, but that our external reserve will be affected. Hey, you know why? Because we are servicing plenty loans. So yes, we may be excited with no subsidy and we're saving money from removing subsidy, which we have not seen, which there is no evidence to. I don't know whether I don't see evidence say we don't make plenty money from the subsidy we will remove, which we haven't seen. So even though there is, we're happy that we remove subsidy, we may be saving a lot of money, and that imports have reduced, but then that we are in trouble, external reserve will be depleted. And if external reserve is depleted, is another wahala for us again. Guess what? The reason is because we're borrowing. So how come we're borrowing more now that we have removed subsidy so that we'll be saving money? How come our borrowing is more on the increase at a time when we have removed subsidy? Because a lot of people would have wondered, oh, we've removed subsidy, so why is our borrowing more now? Because we ought to have saved a lot of money or be gathering a lot of money from the subsidy that we removed, so that we can use it to do other things. Before the subsidy was removed, remember that we're promised that, the money for subsidy will be used to do different things, to put in education, to put in health, to put in other places. Please tell me how much we've added in education. Rather, the money for tertiary institutions was increased. The tuition fee for especially government-owned institutions were increased. Why? So what have we achieved with the subsidy money that we're all clamoring for? And now is the Dangote fuel saga. I don't want to say that we're in a long thing in Nigeria. So this is a call back to the Nigerian First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. With all due respect, ma'am, I think that if you're looking for something to unite us, I think you should actually start by reverting that statement or apologizing for the statement that is credited to you or purportedly credited to you that you made in 2019. That you chase Igbos away from Lagos State and take over their properties. That would be a good way to begin to show that indeed you're now united. You want one Nigeria. You want everybody to come together. Because it insults the sensibility of Nigerians. It's insulting to the sensibility of Nigerians that you make such a statement and you're yet to react to that statement or revert or talk against that statement, or at least clear yourself from that statement. And then at the same time, you're telling us that you're creating an ashebi for us to bring about unity, when you have made one of the most divisionary statements that we have in the history of the country. It is insulting to any Nigerian. So I would have to beg and crave indulgence of the First Lady. With all due respect, ma'am, it would be nice if you at least tell your handlers. We know that you may not be the one tweeting from your Twitter page. Tell them to tweet that, okay, you have seen several responses and reactions concerning a purported message credited to you, or allegedly credited to you in 2019, where you said you'll be chasing away Igbos from Lagos State or stylishly remove them from Lagos State and take over their properties, that you want to state that you were misunderstood in that statement. Not even admit, say you don't. We don't even want to make you admit. You don't get to agree, say you don't. So just say you want to state that that statement was misunderstood. Then see how you take me now. Not be say you make to talk like that. That would be a good way to start to foster indeed national unity, and not through a cloth, material, fabric, aka ashuri. Because by the time you center or focus our national unity on cloth, a piece of clothing, it insults the sensibility of Nigerians. It insults the sensibility of the people that are hungry across board in Nigeria, that cannot afford food for their families, especially now that school has resumed. Did you know, First Lady, ma'am, that school just resumed this September, but lots of families would have their children not return to school and still have their children not return to school? You know why? Hardship. And what's the cause of this hardship? The economic policies of your dear husband, ma'am, our president. You could start by addressing those issues. The state of our public schools could be a good place to start. There are lots of things as a First Lady you could encourage, you could help, you could deal with first of all, before we talk about national unity in a place of fabrics. Please, let's try to be doing things that will not make it look as if there's something more to governance than it is. Because Nigerians, see, the average Nigerian is not even asking for too much in government. Nigerians are the easiest people to govern. Just do small flyover for us now. Say, you don't see that man, he walk where? He build flyover. Just small flyover. That's what you build. And Nigerians will applaud you for it. Well, I thank you and appreciate everyone who's been part of the live. If you'd like to respond and perhaps you want to call in to chime in your thoughts on this conversation, for the next 2-3 minutes, I could just take a few calls. 0817-029-4077, just on WhatsApp. That's the number to call. 0817-029-4077. Just call that number on WhatsApp alone if you want to jump in, or you have any burning conversation or burning issue about Nigeria you want to talk about. Let's just jump on it very quickly. 0817-029-4077 on WhatsApp only. That's the number to call. If you're calling from outside the country, you can just save that number on WhatsApp. That would be +234 817-029-4077. That's the number to call. And I appreciate everyone who's been part of the show. I thank you guys. I thank you for always joining us. Kindly like, subscribe. Please subscribe, because by tomorrow, God willing, I hope to be live by 5 p.m. or before 5 p.m. Nigerian time. I'm going to schedule, and we'll have something very interesting to talk about, especially as it affects us. Now, the idea is to continue to discuss things that would build political consciousness in our mind. Giving up is not an option. Telling yourself that, oh, because the politicians think that they've ruined the country, or you think that they've ruined the country and they just want to hands off and be watching, that is not a way forward. The way forward is to continue to build the consciousness in your mind. In fact, the politicians hate for you to know. If they know that you are aware, they don't like it. That's why they may not encourage good education. So if they know that you know it's a problem to them, so it is good for you to continuously get educated, so that you stay informed. That's the one way you beat them to their game. You know what happens to an informed mind, right? So keep your mind informed. Continue to discuss conversation, embrace conversations that's got to do with Nigeria. It is by this continuous consciousness building that we can get it right. Because if we didn't create awareness, for instance, people would not have the mind to ask the First Lady questions about her actions. People will not even have the right standing to ask her, even remember her actions or what she said in the past. So that is why we must not give up on this country. We will get it right. We were close to getting it right in 2023 election, and yes, we can get it right. Even if it doesn't happen in 2027, but I can assure you that we can get it right. We know that Rome wasn't built in a day, and we'll have all it takes to get the country of our choice. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye.